Michael and Jade, I'm curious to get your thoughts. What do you believe would have been the major chip falling for Joe Biden in making this decision in the past couple of days? Would it have been those calls from former President Barack Obama, some of those major donors? Would it have been the polling that he was being shown about some of the seats they were going to be losing?
I think a bit of both. Certainly the heavyweights in the party, the likes of former Speaker Nancy Pelosi, former President Barack Obama, who of course Joe Biden worked with for 8 years, making it very clear through sources and behind the scenes that they favoured Joe Biden stepping out. You mentioned polls, and actually just going back to that interview with George Stephanopoulos, the President's reasoning has changed over the years, over the weeks. It was only if the Lord Almighty came down, then it was if somebody presented bad polls to him, and then most recently whether it was health concerns. But going to those polls, the President would see polls that are looking absolutely disastrous for the Democrats. And I'm not overstating that. There was one just this morning from the Detroit Free Press regarding Michigan, one of the key states that will be critical to this election. Donald Trump, according to that poll statewide, up a massive 7 points, and you see that reflected, don't we, Jade, in the battleground states all the way through. And I think that sort of polling today might have just tipped him over the edge.
And I think you're right, Joe Biden did offer up a few different scenarios under which he said that he would step aside. I think it was in the press conference, that really highly anticipated press conference he gave at the conclusion of the NATO summit, when he was asked that question, and he said something along the lines of, only if my team came to me and told me that I could not win. Yep. Now that was interesting because in that ABC interview, American ABC interview, he had rejected the polling. He said he didn't believe the polls that had come out in the immediate aftermath of the debate suggesting that Donald Trump had extended his lead. So something we were hearing from some of the Democrats in Congress who were calling on Joe Biden to withdraw was this message of, please go outside your inner circle, please speak to independent pollsters. Don't just be talking to your immediate family, who we know Joe Biden puts so much trust in. Please make sure that you are listening to those outside of your inner circle who are really, really concerned here. I think we'll learn more in the hours and the days ahead about, the lead up to this decision, what kind of discussions were taking place at his home in Delaware, where he's been isolating with COVID. Were there any of those really influential people within the party, like you mentioned earlier, Michael, former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, former President Barack Obama? Were there further conversations taking place behind the scenes with some of those figures who were always considered to really have some sway here? We'll have to see what we learn in the days ahead.
And just before we toss back, you mentioned the Republican counterattack in that, if Joe Biden's not fit to be a candidate, he's not fit to serve as president. We've got that now in writing from Mike Johnson, the Republican House of Representatives Speaker, and I'm quoting a bit of what is a lengthy statement he's put out. If Joe Biden is not fit to run for president, he is not fit to serve as president. He must resign the office immediately. November the 5th cannot arrive soon enough, November the 5th being Election Day, a little over 4 short months away. Bridge and Lisa.
Yeah, absolutely incredible scenes. Jade and Michael will come back to you in just a second. We want to bring you now, though, Joe Biden's statement that he released just around about an hour and a half ago, where he said, "My fellow Democrats, I have decided not to accept the nomination and to focus all my energies on my duties as president for the remainder of my term. My very first decision as the party nominee in 2020 was to pick Kamala Harris as my vice president, and it's been the best decision I've made. Today, I want to offer my full support and endorsement for Kamala to be the nominee for our party this year. Democrats, it's time to come together and beat Trump. Let's do this."
Yeah, and I just wondered, that's actually a social media post that he put out after the statement. The actual statement was notable for the fact that he did not endorse Kamala Harris, and that set the hairs running initially. Then he followed up with that social media post where he added to what was in the one-page statement, which we've got here.